Formation, let's change now. We go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action, it's go. It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in. This is all got trouble written all over it as it seems to be done. Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off as a gravel. Quite impossible as they drop down. But it does not mean he's on the line. Yes, it did. There we go.
And a very good morning or evening or midday to everyone. Welcome to Apex Online Racing, to the 8 hours of Monza for the Superpole Session. The race itself starting in around 3 hours, but first we have to decide the top 10 of the grid for both Tier 2 and Tier 1. We are starting with the Superpole Session for Tier 2 before moving on for Tier 1. My name is TetraDex, and with me in the commentary booth today is Ark. Welcome.
Hi Tetra, hi, thanks for inviting me to join you in sunny Italy. Beautiful day for superpoling, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good Superpole session. Think on both tiers we have teams that are very close towards one another, looking for their position on the grid. Superpole sessions in the past always really exciting on Apex Online Racing, and yeah, always shakes up the grid a bit. Some people
always a bit of drama.
Yeah, people doing mistakes on their one lap.
All or nothing, one lap. Yep.
Alright, we're currently just waiting for the servers to start. We're still in free practice mode right now. And then we'll move on.
Yeah, so I think we have first up Jack Game, should be, for Beeswax Racing sub-team, Misbehaving 2. So hopefully we'll see them coming out soon. They should be coming out for their warm-up lap and then their full lap.
Yeah, Tier 2 definitely the tier for the best names on Apex Online Racing. We're starting with Team Beeswax Racing, Misbehaving. Beeswax Racing, I think some of the best names on Apex Online Racing. Before moving on to MSL Racing, who are starting second. Then we have Hela Gewürz Ketchup Racing, Gotta Catch 'em All, which I think is a nightmare to pronounce for you.
Pokemon reference.
We then move on to Nürburgring Esports Team, starting fourth. Limbo Racing Team. Then we have Crazy Fly Racing Team 2. Last Turn Motorsport. Speed Eagles Team BMW. Hela Gewürz Ketchup Racing Curry. So 2 Hela Gewürz Ketchup Racing teams in the Superpole session today. And the last team to start their lap will be Yellow Patrol.
Yeah, I gotta say I misread the Speed Eagles team name earlier on, and I thought it said Spread. So I'm glad that you've corrected that for me.
2 very different names.
Very different meanings.
Alright, as you can see, still in free practice, waiting for the server to reset so we can start qualifying. Maybe just a few words about how Superpole works on Apex Online Racing for those who join us for the first time. Every driver only has a single lap to decide their grid position. Drivers will start in reverse order from the decentralized qualifying over the last week. And every time one driver starts their hot lap, the next driver will start their out lap. So we should be able to see non-stop action for the next hour or so.
So I didn't know if you knew this, Tetra, but it's actually 100 years since Monza was built in 1922. So as we're in 2022, it looks like it's the centenary year. So I'm expecting some celebratory super hot laps. Just as an interesting reference as well, the track record for a Formula One car is 1 minute 21, which when you look at the sort of average times of a GT3 car seems insane. And just looking at our hot lap leaderboard in terms of what you can expect from a simulated GT3 car, the record currently is 146.6. So these guys running, I think it's mostly 148s in Tier 2, and Tier 1 is running mostly 147s. You know, very close to what we'd expect to see, well, top level for at least a hot lap. But yeah, just compare that to the Formula 1 time of 121, and it blows my mind anyway.
Yeah, very, very different lap times. Who set that lap record, actually? That's definitely
actually,
Formula
that
1,
was Rubens Barrichello in his 2004 Ferrari.
Ah, yeah.
During the Italian Grand Prix in 2004. We might not see that again, because Formula 1 cars aren't really the beasts they were in 2004, but with all the change in regs. And it looks like Game is heading out for his outlap.
Yeah, we are off. So still outlap to watch, of course, but we are now starting Superpole for Tier 2. Tier 2 won't be broadcasted officially later on for those who have favorites in this server. But I think a lot of the drivers are streaming the race. You can go to the Apex Online Racing website, and every driver who wants to has linked their YouTube, their Twitch, if you want to follow a specific driver. Or if you rather want to watch the whole race, of course that's possible for Tier 1 later on. We will be here on this channel broadcasting that race for 8 hours.
So Tetra, the chat's calling me out and basically calling me a liar because the race lap record is 121, but thanks to the boffins in the chat, the actual quali lap record for a Formula 1 car is 1 minute 19. So I have been shamed live by the chat.
I think that should have been Raikkonen, right? I think it was like a big thing that it was the fastest lap of all
Chat
time.
will tell us. I hadn't done my homework on the actual quali lap, but I blame Wikipedia.
That's always good to blame somebody else, really. And we have the 672 car on track, actually. I'm not quite sure why that is the case, because he should be starting last.
I think is he coming out for his hot lap? Game's coming around the Parabolica now, so he'll be starting his actual hot lap in a moment. So just getting a good exit for this run-in down to the straight, and he's going to be a way to go.
Yeah, and we're off for the first lap of the Superpole Session. Very long straight, of course. Once known for mostly being full throttle, now coming into the Variante. Very difficult corner to get right, very tight exit, and of course in the race we will see a lot of action on this corner.
Yeah, it avoided the sausage nicely there as he's coming into Curva Biasono. It's very difficult to tell how fast we are with this this first lap, and I think a good time that they should be expecting, according to what we're looking at, is very sort of high 147s. I think in practice the top we had is and he's at he had a DSQ for Osmanov there. I'm quite sure what 672 was all about there. Slightly distracted by that disqualification. We'll have to come back to that. But sorry, yes, as I was saying, 147. Sort of 147.9 is what we were seeing in practice, so I think that's got to be the target for game.
Yeah, we have 1:48.2 in the decentralized qualifying, but of course that's an average time of all the drivers in the team. Now coming through Ascari.
Big amount of sausage there.
Can't really take too much curb in this corner, otherwise he will go too wide on exit, but he managed to keep it together. So that's probably gonna be a nice lap. Still the Parabolica to go. And now it's basically full throttle towards the end of the lap, and we'll see where Jack Game ends up. So 1:49.47, so...
That's about in line, I think, with what they did to get into this Superpole. So that's a good performance for them.
Oh, we see wherever it takes them on the starting grid. Next up we have Vitor Sousa from MSL Racing, currently on his out lap. Yeah, I think number 672, they were actually supposed to start last, and they just went out on track. So I think they just didn't quite realize what the format is.
Maybe they thought it was the actual start of the endurance race, and only 10 people showed up. I don't know. Oops, sorry for the reading.
That would be a very boring 10 hours, I think. 8 hours, sorry.
Indeed.
Yeah, so we have to see maybe if we get an update later. I don't think they will be able to join the session again. So from provisional P1 down to P10, that's not what you really want to see.
No.
Sousa starts into his lap, takes a bit of a wider line through Parabolica compared to Jack Game.
They have adjusted the rules in ACC since the last patch about several tracks not allowing you to move further out on the last corner to get a straighter line or more speed in across the line to start your hot lap. So not quite sure if Monza was included in that. I know that Paul Ricard did have that, but they've expanded that out to a few more tracks now.
Yes, so far lap's still valid, so I think that was pretty much on the edge. But I'm pretty sure we are going to see at least one driver getting caught out by this.
Yeah. So coming down into Variante.
Della Rocha, I think that is.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Italian corner names, not my strong suit. Through Lesmo 1. And Lesmo 2. So far, I don't think... goes through the grass. Lap still valid, but that's gonna cost him a lot of time.
That's astonishing that it's still valid. I mean, that's going to cost him a lot of time, certainly. But yeah, I misspoke earlier with the 1:49.5. Actually, that's over a second more than the Beeswax team were actually doing to get into this quali. So I think they're going to end up actually being quite disappointed with that.
Sousa also taking a bit of a tighter line through Ascari than Game. I think 1:49 not really what they wanted to see, but I also didn't really notice any big glaring mistakes on their lap.
No.
So maybe they were just trying to get a safe lap down, hoping for at least 1 or 2 spins or something, and they started in 10th, so they have.
Well, I think they've already gained 1 place. So that's a 1:48.2, which is, according to the pace that they came into this, that's going to be a sort of a top 3 time. So that's very good, on par for the MSL team.
Yeah, very good lap from them. They definitely will end up in 9th place, as Yannick Lautenschläger for Hila Ketchup Racing got a catch them all, the 151. Not quite sure why they have a Pikachu-themed livery, because the 151 is definitely Mew. But anyway...
Great knowledge.
They are starting into their lap, and I will try to not be biased throughout that lap, because that's actually my team.
I see.
Bit of a wider line, staying away from the curbs through the Variante.
So Lautenschläger then is your best man for Superpole, the hot lapping?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Bit of a...
Without upsetting your other teammates, of course.
No, of course not. I wouldn't dream of it. Yeah, definitely over one lap, I think he can be the fastest. Maybe sometimes a bit too far on the edge, but probably also the approach of just get one lap out there. If it's disallowed, then so be it. But we don't
Seeing
really
him
have a lot to lose.
Going quite wide then, again on Lesmo. It seems that there's quite a bit to play with on that corner for these drivers without actually invalidating their laps. So not something I would risk. Taking a lot of sausage there through Variante. And again on the coming out of that.
I think that was pretty much on the edge as far as you can go through Ascari. That's what I was talking about earlier. You just a thin margin to get a lap right. Not get on the curbs too much, upset the car. You can quickly lose it.
And the BMW quite stable over those sorts of things. I certainly remember throwing my BMW over the chicanes in Zandvoort.
And that's 148.8, so currently P2. Already lost one position to Sousa. As we go on board with Sebastian Fiedelak from the Nürburgring esports team. Think, yeah, Superpole for them, very good result already on the pre-qualifying. And excited to see where they will end up. Starting the lap now, I think the only Lamborghini on the grid.
Yes, interesting choice. Lovely sound to the Lamborghini as he's coming through Variante. Have you had a chance to have a go at any of the new DLC cars, etc.?
I haven't yet, sadly, because I still haven't gotten my rig set up. But from what I've heard, very, very fun cars to drive.
Yeah, the Lamborghini is very nice. That's a bit easy to drive, but the Ferrari is an absolute beast. A short shifting, straight line speeding beast. So unfortunately, I binned a couple of people in the practice race we had this week with the new things, but I was forgiven since it's it's all so new. Again, wide line out of number 2 there, Lesmo.
I think every driver pretty much on edge, and as I see my pronunciation being made fun of in the chat, I'm sorry. Going through Ascari.
A little bit wide there from the straight line.
Yeah,
unsettled with the curb.
Yeah. Called it.
It's going to cost him a little bit. Does that mean he's going to take extra chances with Curva Parabolica to try and pull back some time?
Very...
Oh. Touching that inside curb again, unsettling the car a bit. Hammer down. Takes the shortest line across the line.
That's
for a 149.3, and I think they're going to be disappointed with that.
Yeah, I think there was definitely more to gain in that lap, but they risked it and didn't quite pay off this time, but definitely still starting P8 at the very least. So that's something. As we have Kleinen starting the lap for that's Limbo Racing Team.
There's no point leaving anything on the table when you're doing a Superpole. You really have to put it all out there and take those risks, and yeah, it might all come off, and it's down to the skill of the driver to put the odds in their favour with their skill and experience. So, you know, it doesn't matter if you come 10th because you skidded out in a chicane, because you were on the very max, the very red line that you're capable of, and that's what you should be doing.
Also always have to keep in mind that it's also mental pressure in the Superpole session. You only have that one lap. You have your team behind you, counting on you to make it count. So there's definitely a lot of pressure on the driver. But
absolutely, you got your whole teams, riding on you for 8 hours. They've got to sit in a car with you, and you're trying to give them the best possible chance so that 8 hours seems worthwhile. And then, of course, you've got 2 guys commenting on you. We're live on YouTube, people watching you on YouTube. It's a pressure situation, but that's what the real racing drivers, not that we aren't real racing drivers, that's what the in real life racing drivers have to contend with. So in terms of realism, that's how it is. Again, I'm settled by that sausage.
Taking a lot of curb on the exit. The problem is you have so much straight line speed you're going to lose on the straight to Parabolica once you go too wide on exit through Ascari. Murat, I think you would have to ask the organizers on the
you're gonna have to ask
Racing Discord.
Erks in the Discord should be able to sort you.
Klein goes 149.0, so that's P3 for them at the moment.
I think they'll be relatively happy with that. A bit slower than their pace that they'd done in the closed qualifying session, but you know, closed qualifying is many goes as you like to get it right. So I think overall that's a pretty good result.
I'm now on board with Konstantin Volkov for Crazy Fly Racing Team. I think he had to lift a bit through turn 1 to avoid that curb.
So a little shout out to the rest of the team. We've got Dmitry Ogrodnikov, Konstantin Volkov, obviously, Sergei Bulsinen, and Sergei Mache, or Mace, in that team. So 4 team members, good spread for the 8 hours. I see Beeswax have only got 2 fellas in their team. That's a big stint for 2 guys.
Yeah, that's a long way to go, just with 2 drivers.
Yeah. Double stints, maybe.
After some time, you will also get fatigue setting in. 8 hours not as easy as it sounds. I know we are all used from watching all the big streamers, constant 24-hour races, but even especially in Tier 2 with a lot of people who will do their first endurance races, who don't have that much experience, 8 hours is already a long time to go.
Especially when you've had a knock in the early laps and you have to pick yourself up, because it's a long way to go, and it's, yes, not one in the first corner, but it's a mental blow when you're already, you know, half a lap back because of an incident, and you just have to get your head down and get through the 8 hours. Other things will happen to other teams. Volkov just coming in through the Parabolica now to finish off the lap. Ooh, stepped out a bit there.
So far the lap was quite good, but we'll just have to wait and see where he ends up. That's P4 for now, 149.0.
Yeah, another flat 149, so, you know, not a lot in between everybody. I mean, Sousa out there by 0.8, but positions 2, 3, 4 only spread by about 0.4 of a second, 0.2 even, actually.
I'll tell you what, I think Sousa will be really happy with that lap and MSR Racing in general. They went into the session in P9, and currently they have 6 cars behind them already. I think that's 5, as Yellow Petrol Racing, I think, was allowed back in. The disqualification is gone. And we have Andrei Timofeyev, I hope that was correct, starting his lap for LTM Last Turn Motorsport. Looks
like Ertz has been a benevolent god and allowed them back in. I think it was an honest mistake. They hadn't quite got the rules, and I think they're new to this competition, so, or maybe new to the Superpole, certainly. So that's good to see. Hope they get a chance to prove themselves.
So coming into Variante de la Rocha.
Yeah, not very straight through there, making sure to avoid the sausage curbs. Into Lesmo 1. Nice and tight to the curb. Putting the power down.
Every bit of the track. Lesmo 2, a bit of sliding.
Yeah, didn't quite touch the apex there, a little bit further out.
But I think he managed to keep it together. I think we have seen every car so far going wide on Lesmo 2. So
yeah, he went quite wide there, but not quite as wide as I've seen some of the others go, with sort of heart-stopping, is my lap time going to turn red? But no. Tidy through that part, the Ascari. We've seen a lot of cars go over those sausages and lose control or lose shape. Quite neat through there, so that's promising for this lap. I'm going to guess another flat 149, provided this goes okay. Getting the power down nice and early. Yeah, that looked good.
Very, very good lap so far, very tidy, and it's still only P5 with a 149.1.
I was 0.1 out.
Commentator's curse in action right there.
Yes, sorry. Sorry, team.
It's interesting that we still haven't really reached 148 so far for most teams. After that was the time that most of them set in the qualifying the week earlier. But of course, the decentralized qualifying, you have as many tries as you want, and you can really set the best lap time you want.
And the track's in a good condition. We got track temperature of 34 degrees. It's clear. There's a bit of rubber down, so it should be optimal condition. But yeah, it's all about putting it into one lap. A little bit wide into that first part of the Variante there.
That's Karol Wozniak for Speed Eagles Team BMW. I almost said Spread Eagles myself now.
Sorry, I've cursed them now. They should change that.
And path check. We tried to keep camera angles a bit varied. I know it's easier to judge on the onboard lap, but of course all these teams have also designed beautiful liveries that you want to show off from time to time, especially for the Tier 2 guys who don't really get that much.
Yeah, a lot of work goes into those liveries.
But I think perfect example right now with that beautiful eagle-themed livery, and that's definitely a speedy eagle and not a spread eagle.
Yes. And at AOR we try to make it more of a televisual experience because the majority of people have spent all of their time with AOR, with ACC and AOR inside the cockpit. So yeah, the cockpit view is definitely valid, but we like to mix it around just to make it a bit more televisual.
Going very wide on the exit of the Ascari chicane, but I don't think he took too much curb. Lap should still be valid. Wait and see what he ends up with. So 149.4.
Yeah, and that's that leaves them in last place technically, 8th position with just 2 more cars to go in the Superpole for Tier 2.
Now starting Hans-Peter for Hela-Gewürz Ketchup Racing Curry, so the second ketchup-based team.
Source-based teams, a strong feature in AOR Endurance Tier 2. And I can't quite see his livery. Is there a Source-themed livery that we have?
There should be one, but I don't think they got around to designing one for the BMW yet.
That's a shame.
It's normally a very red, very ketchup-y livery.
Let's hope that he can add a bit of flavour to this lap.
I wish I had a drum set.
See, you're here for the insight and the actual getting the names of corners right, and I'm just here for puns.
That's a pretty fair deal. So lap so far pretty tidy. It's also going a bit wide on. That was Lesmo 1 actually. So let's see if he repeats the same on Lesmo 2.
Not so wide out there, no.
Not as much as the other teams. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe he can get a bit further up the grid. Dethrone Sousa, who's still sitting in P1. Very well done to him.
So, a lot of love in the chat for Hans. Big fan contingent out there in the chat.
I think also newly crowned Tier 3 champion in the GT3 league.
I'm also getting a lot of abuse from the chat about puns, so that just means I'll redouble my efforts.
Abuse for puns always means it was good puns.
Let's hope he has his hands on the steering wheel as he comes across the line.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, and an excellent 148.8. That's top 3. I mean, I guess they were looking for second place, and technically that's a slip back, but so close with Lautenschlager. And I think they can be proud of that. Yeah,
and Osmanov not really starting his lap, still sitting in the pits right now. So after the first misunderstanding of the rules, I think we have the second misunderstanding of the rules. Don't know if he will actually still start on his lap. If not, we have a very, very surprising P1 for MSL Racing from Vitor Sousa, who's probably will take pole position today by half a second. So very, very good job from him.
That's a big win for them. I mean, pre-qualifying in 9th to come in here, that's that makes a huge difference.
Then we have P2 and P3 for the catch-up teams. So that's P2 for Hila-Gewürz Ketchup Racing, Gotta Catch 'Em All, and P3 for Hila-Gewürz Ketchup Racing Curry. Can't say I'm not pleased by that. Very well done to you boys.
You did well to remain neutral in your commentary there, but I can hear it just a little bit behind your voice.
And P4 we have Brandon Klein. That's for Limbo Racing Team. Sorry about the team's names. ACC is not really showing them today. P4 we have Konstantin Volkov for Crazy Fly Racing Team. And I have to hurry up because people are leaving the server. P6 that's Andre Timo Fayev for LTM. We had Fidelak for the Nürburgring Racing Sports Team in P7. Jack Game in P8 for Beeswax Team with Beehiving. And I lost the plot now because people are leaving the server. Alright, so that was it for Tier 2. To the viewers, just hang in there. We will switch over to a T1 any minute now. And to all the drivers, very well done. And hope you have a good race in 2.5 hours.
We'll see you soon on T1.
Hello Vitor, we are live with Vitor Sousa from Tier 2, posted from Tier 2, just for a quick interview. First off, congratulations, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, please, just quickly tell us, how do you think the lap went, other than the time at the end, which was P1?
Other than really well.
Well, actually, it wasn't the perfect lap, but as it is on Superpole, you don't need to do the perfect lap. You just need to try and get as best as you can in the first lap, and I think that's what got us the pole.
I mean, you were qualified in 8th position. Did you dare to dream that you'd be able to bring it up? You must have been aiming for at least top 5, right?
Well, I was the fastest individually, so I knew I had the pace to do it in. After the patch, I felt the car becoming a bit looser on the rear out of Ascari, so didn't know if it was possible to, especially in one lap, put it all together. But yeah, I believe we could maybe do a top 3. We started P2 last race as well, so I was trying to go for the first 2 rows, and I'm happy that we were able to put it in P1 for this one.
Did you already manage to have a chat to your team about the result?
Yeah, I was with one of my teammates on the chat. Yeah.
So they're
screaming in your ear.
Probably just as excited as you are, right?
Yeah.
And
probably more excited than me because I'm still thinking on where I could have been a bit faster.
That's the racing driver spirit.
So how do you think? Just finally, how do you think you're going to get on in the race this afternoon? So, the rest of the team taking a big boost from your fabulous performance in Superpole. You all confident?
Yeah. The being P1 gives us a good opportunity to try and escape possible chaos in the first lap. So
absolutely,
the strategy will be to try and create a gap from the beginning, like we managed to do last time. And then try to have an incident-free race because most of the times it's not the pace that decides. the position, but how many incidents you have.
Exactly.
And we put us in a good position to avoid that.
Well, best of luck with the Tier 2 race. Congratulations on your fabulous Superpole performance. And yeah, we hope to be able to commentate on you guys again shortly.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
one. See ya.
Okay, Tier 1. I think we'll be starting sometime soon with the Porsche Spinala team.
Yeah, they should be the first to start. Currently still waiting on the server to switch sessions.
Oh, there it goes.
Green light, go, go, go.
Confusingly, I don't think the Porsche Spinala team are actually in a Porsche. You still with me, Tetra?
Yeah, I'm still with you. Sorry. Yeah, we're off for Tier 1 Superpole. That's Alessio Mellis starting for the Porsche Spinala team. Now on his outlap. Shed already speculating about lap times we will be able to see.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been consistently putting in 147s, 147.3 to 147.7 in the pre-qualifying, but of course, you know, that's as many goes as you want. And I think we'll be seeing, on average, about a 0.5 on the Tier 2. That's just my speculation. But yeah, these guys, this is proper alien territory we're in now.
Yeah, also some big names on the server. We have George Boothby, just recently, a week ago, or rather beginning of this week, got crowned Tier 1 champion for the GT3 League. So
that's not a small achievement.
In the words of Jadia, the most competitive AOR league he has ever seen, and George Boothby managing to win it. So very excited to see where he can put the car. But first off, we have a few other teams in the way. I think George should be starting as the 5th team, not quite sure. So let's see where Alessio can take us for the Porsche Spinala team in the AMG. That's
confusingly in a Mercedes.
That's gonna grow annoying real fast. It's a bit like that one team in Tier 2 that has a 4GT livery on a Ferrari. It's another car maker I can't pronounce. But of course, at least Mercedes I can pronounce. And Alessio's going into turn 1.
Nice and tight. Slight kiss of the sausage there.
Don't think it cost him too much time. Taking a pretty tight line through the curve Biasona. Sono? Something like that. We have seen to the drivers were going a bit wider, so maybe that's what makes the difference. Very clean through Delarocha.
Tidy, yeah, tidy. Let's see how he takes second curve at Delesmo. Oh, very wide on the exit there. Let's see how wide he gets on this second corner. Nice and tight to the apex. Fairly wide, but I think still carrying the speed through, so I think looking good so far.
I think he managed to keep it out of grass. So probably taking that corner wide just simply seems to be the meta, I should say.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, a costly mistake.
And he lost the car.
we've seen that with many other cars. They've managed to hold it going over that sausage. I think you've really got no choice but to go for it and try and hold it. But yeah, just a little bit too much power coming off that. And that's that lap over with a DNF.
That's a shame. But we talked about it. They came into the session in 10th. So in the end, they didn't lose anything. Just went for it. And I still think that has to be applauded. They tried their
Exactly, it's what you need to do. You don't want to leave it out there and say, "Oh, I did a nice safe Superpole lap." Said no one ever. So Max Melamed for Butler Powell Motorsport, aiming down the straight, ready to start his hot lap.
Butler Powell Motorsport
Oh,
in the
a bit
BMW.
wide there. I think he touched the grass a little bit coming into Variante.
That's
Nicely out though.
I think he still managed to keep it clean.
Yeah, it didn't cost him too much, I don't think. Very short laps here at Monza, of course. It's super fast, super quick. Not that many corners. All the corners are bunched up into chicanes.
Oh, it's a wide on Lesmo 1. So very much the case for every one of his drivers. Oh, it's a wide on Lesmo 2. A bit through the grass, but I think that's not going to be too bad. Also speaks volumes about my driving speed that I didn't know you have to take both of those corners wide.
Yeah. Here's me commenting on tier one drivers when I'm struggling my way through tier 10, but yeah, it's great to watch. So that was interesting. Just a little kiss of the sort of sausage curbs there, but you know, held it together beautifully in terms of stability. The BMW is that much more stable over those curbs and sausages, so you can give it that. I think sacrificing a little bit of straight line speed in the BMW for that stability. Bit squirrely there coming out of the Parabolica. So this will be our baseline time after we had the DNF, and a 148.2, which is respectable.
Yeah, it's I think that was pretty much the pole time for tier 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think, you know, we were kind of adding 0.5 on to all of the times in tier 2 as to what they were generally running. So I think with that team having run a 147.7 to come into this, that's part of the course, I'd say.
So they now have George Boothby starting his lap for the Clown Fiesta esports team. Tyke through turn 1. Also still keeping it tidy through the curva Biasono.
Lovely spitty roar to the Ferrari as he moves down through the gears to get through that chicane.
Just avoids the curbs as well. Now Lesmo run.
Oh, he's going to come quite wide there. Looks okay. Again, very wide on that. Lot of grass, a lot of AstroTurf. But this could be the way. This could be the cheat code that the tier 1 drivers are using to get these super lap times on the actual edge of what's permissible in terms of track limits. So coming up to the fatal sausages now, as I'm calling them. Nicely over, very stable.
Slide, but he still managed to keep control. Very, very good to watch. And now only has to bring it home. Keeps it tight through Parabolica.
Lovely, pushing that acceleration in, getting the most out of that slingshot effect from the Parabolica.
And that's 148.1 for George Boothby for Clown Fiesta esports.
So that's 0.1 up and into first.
I think tier 1 with those teams, 0.1 still already pretty big margin. Don't think we will see quite as many jumps in the times as we saw in Tier 2?
Yeah, I would. For me, I would imagine that each driver is going to get about 0.1 up on, or should be expecting to get about 0.1 up on the driver before them, on average. So I think that's what these guys are going to be aiming for.
So Fabien Piffet, that sounds French. For Race Anywhere SimSport starting his lap now.
Did you know that Monza also hosts cycling endurance races?
Do they use the old oval?
They use the whole of the actual Grand Prix track for a 12-hour endurance cycling race, which sounds horrendous.
I think there are worse tracks than Monza to do it, but so yeah, 12 hours of cycling, not my cup of tea.
I guess you swap someone into the saddle, hot saddle, once they swap over with you.
Pretty much the MotoGP pit stop, isn't it?
True.
So Fabien's on a good lap. No
Yeah,
major
looking
mistakes so far.
very useful in here. Avoids the sausage altogether, coming
But
through
on
Ascari.
exit, goes over the curb on exit. Very
Just
unstable.
that little bit wider. Just that little bit wider. Avoided the sausage, and of course that means there's more to play with on the exit of that curve. So interesting to see how that reflects in his overall time.
And
It reflects very well.
1:47.8. Very good lap time.
That's excellent.
Puts him P1 for the moment, and there's still some time left in there.
I suspect that'll be the time to beat. I mean, it already is the time to beat after 4 races. But yeah, I think that's going to be there or thereabouts for this session. But I could be proved wrong, as I have been before.
So now Grantas Caracas. Sorry if that was definitely wrong. Starting for Beaver Grease Racing Lithuania.
Good old Beaver Grease. Cementing themselves as one of the AOR banner teams. Grantas Caracas, of course, a long-time AOR driver. Big fan base in the chat.
A lot of names that you can see quite often in AOR. That's
Yes.
long-time participant of this community. That's good to see.
Nearly as famous as us.
Nearly.
Nearly.
Also, I think he just kept it out of the grass through Lesmar 2.
Yeah, maximising the grip. Coming down now under the bridge into Variante. This is where we've seen other drivers having the problems. This is where the real meat of this lap is, I would say.
I think that one and Ascari very, very clean on this one.
This could be good. This could be close.
Oh, 1:47.8 to beat. Let's see if he manages to beat it.
I think it could be a 0.7.
Indeed, it almost is. So 1:47.8.0, so 200ths faster than Piffet, and provisional pole for now.
And that's the sort of margins we're dealing with at this sort of level, 2 100ths. So, you know, excellent drive from Grekrakis there. And Piffet disappointed, but can't be disappointed with his overall laptop, I don't think.
So now on board with Valentin Barriere. I can't do French names. Starting the lap for GigaChat Racing Team.
Giga Chad.
Let's see.
Chad's always come first, so let's see how he gets on. And it's another one of those teams with just the 2 drivers. So, obviously, long weekend for these guys. Got Max Wojtania as his co-driver. So no doubt screaming in his ear right now as he's driving around the circuit. Or maybe he's been asked not to scream in his ear, which is probably more likely.
Different strokes or different strokes. I like someone
Indeed.
screaming in my ear.
Gentle encouragement I like, rather than complete silence.
So far, keeping it clean. Bit wide through De La Rocha. I don't think we have seen that particular line, but not saying that makes it the wrong line. Pretty much
It's only Aston in the race currently.
Pretty much standard stuff through lesson 1, 2. Yeah, the only Aston on this in the Superpole Session right now, but of course we also have 5 BMWs.
Yes.
In a decentralized qualifying, BMWs very much the fastest cars.
Interesting to see the McLaren being on pole right now. I mean, that straight line speed. Oh, that's
very wide.
Very wide.
Let's see if that's still a valid lap.
I think it is.
Yeah, it seems like it's still going on.
Late on the brakes into Parabolica.
Track limits seem to be very generous so far today.
They do. Could be a little slow, I fear.
That's a 148.1, so that's P3 for now. Just 700s in front of George Boothby.
A good lap, but I think 0.3 is a bit of a distance for the top runners. So yeah, good lap, but not quite on it for top of the board.
I think that mistake for Ascari is currently pretty annoying. So we start a lap from Philip Witczak for Silver Racing Team Eurowash. Another BMW.
So this team, Silver Racing Team, we've got Mikolaj Norici, Philip Witczak, of course, Wojciech Ratakac. I'm hoping I've got that right. So it's a 3-man team.
And all Polish team as well. So let's see where they end
Another
up.
BMW, of course.
I think we only have BMWs to go for the rest of the session.
That's telling in itself.
It's a bit of encouragement in the chat for Philip.
From his team mate, Mikolaj. Big shout out to the Silver Racing Team, Mikolaj. Good luck in the race, no matter how this comes out for you.
But so far it's looking good. Don't see any dust getting kicked up. Don't see any slides. But of course, this is where most of the laps seem to be decided in this session.
Does he like sausages? He does.
I think a bit of dirt on the exit, but just kicked him into the right direction. But of course, the BMW also more generous with the curbs. So that might be why we have mostly BMWs in this session.
Definitely, it's much more forgiving, and I think, you know, as we were saying, that's oh, is that a DC for me or for you?
I'm still here. So it might be for you, as we see Philip doing a 148.2. So that's P5 for now.
I'll just check my settings and that my daughter's not watching Netflix, and I'll be right back.
That's alright. So as we wait, we start a lap for Ilya Dunitsin for Armamentario Skidanov Racing. That was a mouthful. Hope you are hoping for a good lap. So coming into T1, into Variante. Very clean, so very clean and very, very much on the edge on the exit. I don't think it was, Mikolaj. So the lap was still valid, so I don't think you had a cut on Lesmo. I don't think they checked the laps afterwards to see if they were really valid. Welcome back.
I'm all good. I don't know. I didn't have a chance to run downstairs and check, but yes, I think it was just my my network connection. I was very worried he'd just driven straight into a wall, but no, it was just me.
No, you managed to keep it on track and put it into a P5. And yeah, the other BMW currently on track. That's I'm just gonna call him Ilya because I'm not going to
Blitzen.
manage that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Another one of the BMWs.
Already into this, all or nothing section. Eases off the power a little bit. Oh, squirrely outside there of Ascari.
Rian got kicked up a lot. I think he had a bit of airtime on that one, but managed to keep it on track. Let's see if it affected
it could still be
time.
good.
I don't think we have any driver seen drive through that cleanly today. So...
No, and there's a whole 8 hours of driving over that section to come as well for these guys. So yeah, Denitsin suffering.
148.6, so currently in last place of the finishers by 3/10.
Yeah, not what they'd have wanted. But yeah, you have to put it all on the line.
And
yeah,
just for change, we are going to see another BMW. That's Marlon Andrade.
That'll be nice.
For Fenwell SimSport. Just gonna upload. Yeah, Philip forgot to change gear to third in Ascari. So that annoying...
That sounds like something worth more than 0.02. So yeah, that could well have been the top level for them if it wasn't for that mistake. Still, 8 hours to sort it out, guys.
And still P5 for now, so not the worst starting position in the world. And as Ark said, a lot of time to make up for it. Funwell with SimSport, the second to last team we will see today. One of the 2 Funwell SimSport teams. So we had somebody leaving the session. Oh, we're back. Crew Lesmo 1. Well,
it's nice. It's nice to have a qualifying session where there aren't any exploding oil containers as well in the vicinity. That's something that's got to be good for these races.
Definitely makes for nicer viewing, yeah. Also, our drivers don't have to meet up in the middle of the night to make sure they actually want to start this race.
Yeah.
I'm sure they all want to start this run.
AOR takes the health and safety of its drivers very seriously, and we would of course not allow for fires to occur on any of these circuits.
Can't promise anything for your computers, though. You might want to turn down the graphic settings.
My computer crashed during the last race of the season this week, so I had to go for a walk and then a shower and then a beer because I was in the top 10. So, fires do happen.
Speaking of the top 10, that's P1 for Funwell SimSport. 147.5. So the lap time we foresaw earlier to be about the average. Now currently the pole position time. And again, we see the lap times on this session very much far away from the decentralized qualifying times. And the last team to start, of course, a very exciting car we haven't seen a lot of today. It's another BMW for Connor Wright.
It's really nice to see them using a BMW. It's often overlooked as a car. You can get the best out of it if you try it. So it's good to see these guys sticking with the BMW.
You just really like to see an underdog car. Well,
Connor Wright, of course, one of AOR's stalwarts. The whole team's hopes and aspirations on his shoulders once again. Nice and tidy there.
Yeah, so some people just pointing out the engine sound is a bit too quiet. I will sort it out for the race. Thanks for noticing me.
I think they want the engine sound to be like the Batman film, where it fills your whole body with the rumbling of a V12 engine.
At the moment, we sadly only have your lovely voice for that effect. So Connor now going through lesson 1 and 2, kept it clean so far. Big task to beat that pole time.
Oh, takes a lot of sausage there. Well controlled though. Oh, that's nice and tight through there as well. Interesting technique, just a little twitch of the wheel to bring it in tightly. I think this is going to look good. I think this is, provided you can get through parabolic here and get the speed out. For me, this looks like a...
That could be the pole beating time, I think.
P1 lap. Little bit squirrely there. but he knows what he's doing.
And Conor Wright putting on only in P8. That's
What do I know about anything? I don't know anything. I retire.
I'm surprised by that. So yeah, P8 for Conor Wright, Fanboy SimSport. But of course, just going down the order in P1, we have Marlon and Brady for Fanboy SimSport for the number 58 car with a P1 with an astonishing time. Absolute stonker overlap. Very well done. Behind them, P2, Grantos Caracas for Beaver Grease Racing. In P2, P3, Fabian Piffet for Race Anywhere SimSport. Valentin Barrier for GigaChat Racing in P4. George Boothby, the newly crowned AOR GT3 champion for Clown Fiesta Esports. P5, P6, Philip Wiczak for Sim Racing Team. P7, we have Max Melamed for Butler Paul Motorsport. P8, Conor Wright for Fanboy SimSport number 57. P9, we have Ilya Dudnitsen for Armamentario Racing. And in last place, that was Alessio Mellis for Porsche Spinella Team. So
well done.
Well done to everyone. And we'll just have a quick chat to Marlon for the post-sitter of today's race. Hello Marlon, how are you doing?
Hey guys, doing great. How about you all?
Very
Very
good
good.
after watching your lap. How did it feel?
It was a really good one. First and second sector felt amazing. And then going through Ascari, I said, okay, BMW is quite strong. Let's just be a little bit conservative and finish the lap without any problems. So it felt really solid.
That's fantastic. So, Paul, we were talking to the tier 2 drivers, and like most endurance races, I think pole, rather than meaning you're the fastest, is just really more of a relief that you're not involved in the banter at the back, or at least a few rows down when we start a long 8 hours of endurance. You feel a bit more relaxed about the 8 hours now?
Exactly, especially being at Monza. Starting in the front row is something which is really good just because of that, being out of the chaos. And
yeah, that first chicane,
exactly.
Chaos City.
Exactly. And then if possible, of course, it's good to start in the front, and if you can open a gap and there are some fights behind, and you can have a little bit more chilled out first stint, which is normally the one more stressful.
Yeah, and hopefully extend your lead with a bit of a gap to the guys behind. So what are you going to do now between now and the start of the race? Obviously a champion's meal of pasta to keep you going and make sure you're hydrated. Any rituals you're going to put in place before you get going?
No, I need to get my day starting. I'm originally in Brazil, so time zone doesn't help too much. I just woke up and came to the Superpole. So basically chill out a little bit, practice a little bit for the race, and then just go for it.
Great. Well, glad to have that we have such a widespread of international drivers in AOR, and so best of luck to you and the SimSport 58 team, and we'll be keeping an eye on you throughout the day.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and I hope you guys enjoy over there commentating as well, and I hope that everyone watching also enjoys it.
Yeah, I think the chat have been big on this, so we'll get involved with them again later on this afternoon. But yeah, thanks very much and congratulations once again.
Thanks again.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye, folks. Thanks.
And yeah, that's it for the Superpole session so far. Thank you everyone who joined in the chat. Thank you all for watching. And we will see each other in about 2 hours time for the start of the Tier 1 race for the 8 hours of Monza. It's going to be a very good one, so don't miss it for the world. Thank you also again to Ark for joining us, for joining me in the commentary today.
It's been a pleasure, Tetra, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So looking forward to this afternoon and to the F1 as well.
All right. So goodbye, everyone, and see you later.
By 2 formation, road change now. We go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action is go. It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in. This has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars. Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. wide as possible as they drop downhill, but that's from the inside line. Yes, oh, it is. There we go.